Let's take some calls on this right now. I think it'd be fun to throw this out to 49er fans because we're sitting here saying we're trying not to peacock, but I know what it sounds like. We're peacocking, right? The Niners are going to the Super Bowl. They're the best team. Wah, wah. What are you going to do about it if you're not a Niner fan? What if we asked it this way? And Dibs, I wonder how you'd answer this. 888-957-9570. What are you worried about with regard to the Niners? What still worries you?
Well, can we take injury off the table? Or can we?
No.
Because that would be the number one Family Feud answer for me on the board.
For sure. I agree with you.
And it's an easy one. It's easy in terms of worry.
Anything else?
What worries me? I'm thinking about teams, and I look around the NFC, and none of those teams really worry me. I don't like Detroit. Detroit's kind of come crashing back to earth, I think, in many ways.
I got one big one, but I'm gonna save it.
Dallas doesn't.
This cow. Go ahead.
Dallas doesn't worry me. It was a great game last year in the playoffs. This year was one-sided. Mm-hmm. A trip to Philadelphia feels like it's going to be off the table if you handle business, so that doesn't worry me. Mm-hmm. No other team would worry me. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore worries me, but you're going to get a chance to see them before it actually would come to fruition in a possible Super Bowl. So nothing worries me, Mark, other than Kyle Shanahan turtling up again in the big game.
Come on.
And his clock management yesterday. Can we spend 30 seconds?
Go for it. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Kyle, it's okay to use your timeouts on defense.
That was
dog.
Weird. That was weird.
Get the ball back. I know you're going to start the third quarter with the rock. Seattle is.
No, they weren't. No, Seattle started the third quarter.
You're right.
Seattle got the ball.
Stuff them.
Yes.
Make them punt.
No, that was strange.
And get the ball back.
Or just make them punt. Just make them punt. Maybe mishandle it. Maybe a bad snap.
Bad snap.
Try to go block it.
Who knows?
Do something.
Do something.
That was strange. Oh, okay. Here, Kyle Shanahan addressed that. Here it is.
No, we went back and forth on it, and then I ended up not liking my decision. It's kind of right in between there. I had enough timeouts. We said no, then we said yes, and then I was confused because when they did take the 10 seconds off and it was after an incomplete completion, I couldn't figure out why they were running it again. None of us knew, so it was just an unusual rule. So I just talked to the ref, and he said it is a weird rule, but that's how they do it. Even if it's a dead ball, if you take a 10-second runoff, they can still start the clock. And once that started happening, and we were surprised by it, then we just let it go in at half.
Okay, I like
Steve Kerr in his game.
Well,
right
but
there.
I like that Kyle was like, wrong call. I always accept that. Do you accept that?
No, I don't.
You don't.
Well, because he had a chance to talk to him about the 10-second runoff. And
I'm just saying I'd rather the coach come out when you do mess up, evaluate it, and then admit it.
That's fine. That's fine. You love those 3 words in the English language.
I do.
I was
wrong. It's okay.
You're damn right you were, Kyle. Yeah. They won the game, so it's not a big deal.
But how much would you be, Mr. Snooty Shanahan, if he had come out and been like, no. Not using a timeout there, and if you think I should have, you don't know football. Oh my God, our whole day would be different.
More offensive, yeah.
Say look, we went over it, and we decided not to, and I wish we had. I can accept that.
I can accept it, but the follow-up question is, Kyle, are you now closer to appointing somebody to help you with these situations that seem to be your bugaboo? Loaded question.
Totally. I don't even know that I agree with you that it's a bugaboo. I know that people, it's a Super Bowl before halftime. Okay, give me a third one.
I don't need a third one.
Yeah, you do. If you're going to call it a bugaboo.
You asked me what I'm worried about.
That's fine.
And it's a little bit of a reach to say that that's what I'm worried about, but it sticks out again from yesterday.
That's fair.
And again, it didn't matter. You were in control of the game. You won the game. You commanded the game. You never were in a spot where that felt like it was going to come back to haunt you. But those are the situations where I want him to be more aggressive.
And that's fair. By the way, the question is, what are you worried about? So there's no wrong answer. I mean, you can say, I don't know if we're all going to be alive in January.
Yeah, boy.
No, okay. That's your worry. I got one.
Talk to me.
And it's not injuries. Do you know that the last time Jake Moody even tried a field goal, it was on Thanksgiving night?
That's a long time ago.
They haven't even attempted one since then. This team is so effective right now on offense and is so good in the red zone. They haven't even attempted a field goal since Thanksgiving. It's December 11th. So I still sit here thinking one of these days they're going to need him to make a big kick. And look, they're all big. I understand that. But the ghost of Cleveland is still with me. You know, he had one chance, Eminem, to go out there and not miss your chance to blow. And then he blew it. So that's still sort of in the back of my mind. I am almost arrogant enough as a fan to believe that the Niners may go through the rest of the season not needing to make some sort of a kick at the buzzer to beat somebody. Maybe that's how it'll go, but I don't know. And they may need one. And I still feel like in those situations, if that guy walks out onto the field in the fourth quarter of a 23-23 ball game, or even worse, 23-21, and you absolutely need him to make it, I think all of our knees are going to be knocking together.
For sure. He's a rookie kicker, and it's always going to be a dicey proposition when any kicker goes out there. And you saw Koo yesterday miss a couple of kicks, and they ended up losing that game, including one that rattled off of the upright. Moody this year marked 27th in the league in field goal attempts. He's only attempted 20 kicks.
Yeah, they don't need him to.
Right.
I mean,
they don't need him to until they need him to.
Until they need him to.
And that's, and so far they've only needed him to once, and he missed it.
Think about their
And
last,
other than that, it's been blowout city.
Think of their games. 28 yesterday, 42, 42. They get 40. These are all divisible by 7.
Yeah.
They don't need him. But wouldn't you love, again, this is a weird question because, no, I don't want a game to come down to a field goal, but there's a piece of me that would love some sort of a pressure kick, even if it's just before halftime. Let's say the Niners are, you know what I mean? It's second quarter, and the Niners are up 14-10 against Baltimore 2 weeks from tonight. But just have the 2-minute drill and get down there, and you got a 45-yarder at the buzzer. If you miss, it's not like everything's going to fall apart, but I'd love to see Jake Moody do that. Get out on the field. There's 2 seconds on the clock. Line it up. Kick that thing. Have some success. You want him to get some positive memories in his brain about those moments.
Yeah. 47 for 47 on PATs. So you can feel good about that.
That's something.
He's been out there kicking PATs, and he hasn't missed one.
That's something. That's something.
So, it's not the same as a 43-yard field goal to win at Cleveland in the wet and in the wind.
But outside of that, I've got none.
Outside of the kicker.
I got none.
Well, you asked for callers to call in with their Niner worries, and there don't seem to be a lot of them because the calls.
There's a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's worried about something, but maybe.
Always.
I know people who are just wired that way. My mom's not comfortable. She's not worrying about something.
Oh, yeah.
She'll worry about the fact that she's not worried if there are no worries.
Yeah.
She's like, well, when's that feeling going to end? That's scary.
This feeling of contentment?
I'm not worried right now, which worries me.
Totally.
Let's go to Gene in Oakland. Sounds like a worrier. Gene, are you a worrier?
I used to be, okay? Then I reached a stage in my life, I decided, what the hell? I'm just going to live for the day. And it works,
I love that. What the hell? That's my new phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What the hell?
Okay. I mean, I got to my late 70s and I said, God, I'm very old. What am I going to do? And then I said, hey, I'm very old. I can do whatever I want. So anyway, that's
Perfect.
the attitude I take.
Good.
What am I worried about? I think I've already told you guys. Just injuries. That's it. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm a little concerned if it comes down to field goals. I don't expect it to come down to field goals. I think we got a team like we had back in '95, the last time we won. And we basically cruised to a Super Bowl, then beat any field goals, as I recall. So correct me if I'm wrong. Certainly not in the Super Bowl, anyway. So that's it. Just injuries. Stay healthy and we'll waltz to another one.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. And I know that, like, every fan, if you're a fan of an NFL team, statements like that make you uncomfortable. They just do. Oh, we got this. Oh, God. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like they had a great shot to win it last year. And then on one play, it was over. That's on the table.
Of course.
Every single snap, that's
every
on the
team
table.
for everyone. I mean, that's on the table at all times. And,
Oh.
you think about, even if you lost any player, you could survive it better this year than you could last year. And you think about Brock Purdy, and I'm not trying to put the hex on him, but you do have Sam Darnold. And we don't know if Sam Darnold can step in and be any good. Certainly he won't be as good as Brock Purdy, who might be the MVP, but you would imagine that Sam Darnold will come in and be better than Josh Johnson was when he came in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the comp this year is not Sam Darnold. The comp this year to last year is that Brandon Allen starts the NFC Championship game, and then he gets knocked out, and somebody that you just grabbed off the street comes into the game. Like, I mean, that's essentially what happened last year.
Right. Brock Purdy was in the Brandon Allen spot, and, he slowly moved up when Trey Lance got hurt. He became the Sam Darnold. But your point is well taken. And even if Brandon Allen had to come onto the field, you'd feel better than you did with Josh Johnson last year.
No doubt about it.
And that's no disrespect to Josh Johnson, the kid out of Oakland Tech, who I've been defending on this very station for years in terms of what he tried to do last year. But I do think that this team is a little bit more injury-proof than last year's team, although you don't want to see any of it happen.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. Yeah?
Yeah.
Lucas? Yeah? Okay. Let's go to Jose in Oakland. Hey, Jose, what's going on? You're on with Willard and Dibs.
Not much, guys. A little bit hoarse. I went to the game yesterday. It was a great game.
Good for you,
I see
Jose.
the Niners, thank you. I see the Niners trotting into the playoffs like Deion Sanders, just high-stepping it. That's not a problem for me. You know what? If they have enough confidence and they think they're going to get it done, good for them. The one thing that concerns me is, other than Sam Darnold, who else do we have as an emergency QB? I mean, we don't want to get stuck like last year. I mean, we lost Purdy, then we ended up with Josh Johnson, and then who else was there?
Well, this year it would be who we were just talking about there, Jose. It would be Brandon Allen. That's your emergency QB.
Really?
Well, but what do you want, Jose? Like this, my answer to you would be this: who in the NFL has got 3 quarterbacks?
Well, yeah, you got a point there, but I mean, you live to learn and you learn to live. I mean, if the Niners didn't learn anything from last year, then it's on them if it does get to that point. Hopefully it won't happen, but you know what? This hopefully thing is last year we didn't expect Brock Purdy to be gone, in the first series, and it did happen.
Yeah, but Jose, what would you have them do about it? Like, in other words, you said if they didn't learn their lesson, what should they have done differently? You want them to use $50 million and sign like three $17 million QBs or something?
No, but I just didn't see enough from Allen to say, to be comfortable enough to say, well, if it gets to that, we'll be okay. The guy is capable enough.
Of course not.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jose, thanks. I mean, that's something, some of this just is like, do you have the stomach for it? And to me, in the NFL, if you lose 2 QBs, usually, quite frankly, if you lose 1, that's it. You got to deal with it. See you next year.
Depends.
Aaron Rodgers, 4th play. Night-night. That's the end of your season. Sorry. That's how it works.
Yeah, not always. And yesterday was a great proving ground of teams that are trying to do it now with a backup. And look at Cleveland. Cleveland has started their 4th different quarterback.
Yeah.
They had Deshaun. They had DTR.
PJ Walker.
Had PJ Dub. And now they've got Flacco. And they're still in it.
They're 8-5.
I mean, they're 8-5.
Had a great defense, but yeah, they're
Correct.
8-5. And Jim Brody missed a kick.
Right.
But anyway.
8-5 with 4 different starting quarterbacks. Yep. And you think about that division, it's no slouch of a division. It's not like you're dealing with Tampa and, Tampa and the NFC South, which that division's been an absolute hilarious mix of New Orleans has started multiple quarterbacks.
Yeah, he had to do a game or two.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can function, but you usually need some wobbly things to go your way. Minnesota lost their quarterback for the year. They're still 7-6.
Yeah.
Indianapolis lost their quarterback for the year. They're still 7-6, although he was only a rookie.
Cincinnati lost their quarterback.
Cincinnati lost their
quarterback.
They're 7-6. The Rams lost their quarterback for a little while. They're 6-7. They're very, very much in the hunt.
Pittsburgh lost their quarterback. They're 7-6.
They're 7-6, although they just lost their quarterback, and they're 0-1 since it happened, and I have a feeling that will continue if he doesn't get back because that was disgusting. But anyway, you look around the league, and largely the bottom half of the divisions, those are the teams that are struggling with their quarterback.
Yeah.
We're going to give Pittsburgh, Cincy, and Cleveland all the love for losing quarterbacks and still being in it. However, Pittsburgh and Cincy are also tied for last place in their division.
Right.
That division's insane. All 4 teams have a winning record.
Yeah.
But go to the Raiders. Now take a look at the Chargers.
The Giants.
The Giants lost their QB. The Titans.
The Bears had to start Badgett for a couple of games.
Exactly right. Arizona obviously has had a bunch of different quarterbacks starting games, and these are the teams that largely populate last place in their respective divisions.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, for the most part, when you go to the backup, your season's going to be over. But I do think now, Mark, more than ever, these NFL teams and these NFL rosters are built to have 2 quarterbacks in whatever way you possibly can. And, the better backup, like Browning in Cincinnati is a good example. He's a good quarterback. He was well accomplished in high school. He had a good college career. And he's been a backup in the NFL, and now he's got a chance to shine. And he's a good little quarterback.
No doubt. It's so fun. That phrase gets me this whole Brock Purdy experience. I can't deal with that now. He's a good little quarterback. Oh, gosh, you just patted him on the head. Jake Browning is going to be in an interesting spot if this continues. If this continues, the Bengals are going to have an asset on their hands that they can use if they would like to going forward, because Joe Burrow will come back. They have an unquestioned star quarterback making over $50 million a year, and you'd love to have a great backup. That's true, but usually the capital that can come your way if somebody believes that you've got a quarterback and they really want that person to be their starter, I mean, you get massive draft capital for that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Browning the rest of the way.
I think the number is 55, Mark. 55 different starting quarterbacks this year in the National Football League. I'm just looking at the list here on Pro Football Reference, and Clayton Tune's got to start. Jaron Hall's got to start.
Clayton Tune, that was disgusting.
Brett Rippon's got to start. Brian Hoyer has got to start. Trubisky's you mentioned. Tim Boyle 0-2 with the Jets. Heineke 0-2 with Atlanta. The Zapster, he started a couple. It just goes on and on.
Goes on and on. Aiden O'Connell and
Tyrod
Garoppolo.
Taylor's got some starts.
Oh, yeah. The Giants have got 3 different guys they've thrown out there.
Yep.
Absolutely. Suzanne in San Jose next up on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Suzanne.
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
Good, Suzanne.
Going great.
Good. Well, what I'm worried about is complacency. And, I always worry because I've been faithful for 40 years, and I've seen it all. We've been Levi's, season ticket holders since day one. And, you get your heart broken. You get your heart broken watching this sport and this team occasionally. But we're all on a high right now. And yesterday you just kind of felt this vibe of, oh, we're going to kick their ass. Oh, it's going to be, this will be an easier game. And you just can't take anything for granted. To your point about injuries, I mean, this game, this season could turn on a dime. And so just trying to stay grateful, trying to stay calm, and hoping that the players and the fans don't get complacent, because that's like the kiss of death. Well, I'm also a little worried about the Ravens, not going to lie.
Okay, well, we're going to get to see that, and the Ravens, I would agree with you right now. If there's any team across the entire league that I would say, I wonder what they look like against the Niners, that would be the team. Yeah, but Suzanne, here's what I would say. As far as the complacency topic, fans can get complacent all we want, and as you've pointed out a couple times today, Dibs, I don't think that's going to affect the 49ers if we're complacent. Did they get complacent after the Dallas game? You could argue it. But I have the utmost confidence that this group is not going to suffer from any complacency.
Not now.
There is an intensity in that building, an obsession with the Super Bowl based on where they've been the last few years. You look at it the way they've gone about their roster. A group that said, McCaffrey, yes. Chase Young, yes. And then we'd like Zach Ertz, yes. And we're paying everybody. They are totally obsessed with the final prize. And so as we get into December now, I have a hard time believing that this team isn't going to have the volume turned all the way up every time they play.
Yeah, and they're feeling it now, and they're smelling it, and they can taste it, and they understand the importance of getting the 1 seed. And maybe tomorrow we can go through the debate, because many people on social media yesterday talking about, the 2 seed might actually be better. Easier path if you're the 2, or is it better to get the 1 and get that bye? But if you get the 1, you might have to go Dallas and Philly back to back. But if you get the 2, you got a cupcake, and then you might be able to avoid Dallas. Then you get Philly at the end of it. The whole idea about the 1 versus the 2, for me, and I would imagine most of the guys in that locker room, it's the 1.
The 1.
I could care less about who we play. Give me the week off. Let me get my body right. Let me get situated. And if you're that confident and you've already beaten Philly and you've already beaten Dallas, you don't care about playing them again as opposed to getting that additional week.
I agree with you from the beginning, but it's been furthered by this point. I don't know that Philly is any tougher than Detroit right now.
Wow.
I don't even know that would be the first.
Some say they're a better version of last year's Minnesota Vikings.
Some do say that.
Starting to think that maybe that
wacky take is sounding a little less wacky.
Super wacky tobacky.
Not so much anymore, is it?
It's looking better, Mark.
I had a few people reach out to me last night.
I already gave you your flowers, okay?
Well, get another set for tomorrow.